Oh,
Oh, the green light came on.
there's no light. I just need to tell you that. Not on top. Okay. Oh, who gets a fine? BJ, get him. Well, hello. My name is Rachael Condley. I have lived in Stillwater since 1996. I came to Oklahoma State University, fell in love, thought I was moving back to the Panhandle of Oklahoma to raise a family, and my love interest had different ideas. I said, I thought we were moving back to the Panhandle. He said, I thought we were moving to Tulsa. And so here we are, all these years later. Along those lines, I'd like to introduce my guest that didn't sign in. Sorry, Marcia and Ivan. Seth Condley is here with me today, kind of with me. He chose to sit at a different table, which is totally fine. And my good friend and coworker, Melissa Tuck. Melissa helped me tremendously prepare the presentation today. To be completely honest with you, I wanted to present with a different title because I wanted one more time to hit you with all that Our Daily Bread was doing before I'm president and can't present for a year. So Kevin and I worked really hard to come up with this cool title, and then I was totally going to switch it on you like a bait and switch thing. But as this developed, I realized that I have learned so much in my time at Our Daily Bread, not only about people we serve, but also about myself. So Marcia wisely brought me some tissues. I did a presentation yesterday and I cried about 14 times. I keep thinking I'm going to grow out of it and then I don't. So bear with me as we do something a little different today. You've all got envelopes on your tables you'll be opening as I instruct you later. I hope you're ready to talk and share among yourselves. But we're going to talk a little bit today. I hope that none of you have had to experience or are experiencing poverty right now in your current life. But what I found about myself, and I'm humbly saying this, like I started working at Our Daily Bread in January of 2021, and I really thought I got it, to be honest with you. You know how you think you know everything, and then the older you get, you realize you know nothing. And as I got to know our guests and I got to encounter their experiences, I got to learn more about neuroscience, epidemiology, the science of trauma, what it does to your brain, what stress does to your brain. Seeing people, our guests, being treated in a way because they had a certain amount of money or didn't have that money. It's changed me. So today, I have my Kleenex. These views are not the views of Our Daily Bread. I am not representing anybody today but myself. My name tag is only on because this one sits on top of it. So today I'm just coming to you as a Rotarian just to share some lessons I've learned. I kind of stopped last night and I was like, is that okay? And then I thought, if Dr. Breedlove can share his cruise photos, I'm pretty sure we're good. So what is poverty? The New Oxford American Dictionary defines poverty as the state of being extremely poor. Thank you, New Oxford Dictionary. The USDA defines poverty level as a household of one making $15,650 or less per year, household of two, $21,000, household of three, and so on. These guidelines are used to determine eligibility for programs like Medicaid or Sooner Care, SNAP or food stamps, and several other programs that are implemented by the USDA. Now, a lot of those, they use the poverty line and then they don't go by it. So it's like, okay, you're eligible for this program if you're at 115% of the poverty level. You're eligible for this one if you're at 130% of it, but it changes every year. It doesn't go up very much. So that's where we're at. Some Payne County statistics. I know you guys are data people and most of you are much smarter than me. So I did bring my sources, I just didn't cite them. So if you want to talk about where I got this information, I'd definitely love to discuss that with you later. But according to the KC Family Opportunity Map, they kind of merge a lot of data sources. 26% of children under 5 in Payne County are living in poverty. Almost 30% of families live below 200% of the poverty line. So why is this important? Well, as I said, many programs that you can qualify for are at 115, 130, 150%. We at Our Daily Bread have a chart that goes by 200% of the federal poverty level. Now, we don't deny anybody food that comes in. If you come in for food, you're going to get it. But if you self-report that your income is over the income noted on that chart, we ask that you don't choose the USDA items on our shopping floor. Those are items we get through the regional food bank at no cost to us, usually staple goods and some stuff that nobody ever uses, like dried beans and things. But they're staples. Some people do use them. They use them enough that we keep getting them. So if you're over that 200% level, most of the time when we see that, it's because somebody's had a crisis event in their lives. My car broke down. I needed a new air conditioner. I sent the kids to camp, and we don't have enough money to pay for XYZ or just different things like that. So that is why that's important. And did you know, I looked at the low-income report this morning. All Payne County school districts report over 50% of students qualify for free or reduced price school meals. The highest district is at 95% qualification. And the application is optional. So families don't have to fill it out. How many of you grew up in a small school, rural school? Okay, so how many of your families knew the school secretary really well? How many of your families would have been, you didn't even have a secretary. The superintendent is processing the free and reduced school apps when that happened. So so I worked for Keystone Food Service for a number of years, and one of the things we really wanted to do was get schools qualified as high as possible for those free and reduced meals, because the schools actually get reimbursed at a higher rate than they can charge kids for those meals. If you want to talk more about that, it's an interesting deal, right? But we wanted to make the food really good so that all the kids wanted to eat it, so that those kids that qualified for free and reduced wouldn't have a stigma, right? But there is a stigma on being the kid that gets the free meal. There is a stigma on turning in that application and having to give it to somebody you've known all your life, and you're reporting all your income on there. Child support, how much you bring home. It's some personal information. And I think we have to face the fact that in Payne County, a lot of our people know all of their people, and that is embarrassing. So we have a struggle. In every school district we talk to, they have a struggle of families turning in those applications to qualify for those meals. So now it's time to share. It's your favorite. You're going to open the envelope on your table that says scenario whatever number. You've got 4 copies of that scenario in that envelope. So hopefully what that means is 2 of you will be looking at it together. Pick someone at your table to read that scenario out loud to your table. You're going to learn what your scenario is, okay? And then you're going to make a budget for your family or scenario. And consider the costs not listed. It already lists out several big rocks, right? Like rent, utilities, childcare, things like that. Think about what monthly expenses do you have that aren't listed. All the scenarios at your table will be the same. So all 8 of you or however many are working on the same scenario. And I'll give you like 5 minutes to talk through that. Actually, think about how awkwardly recorded this would be on YouTube, so my fault. All right, are we good? All right, so what are some ways that your individual or family in your scenario could increase their income and get out of poverty? Some of you have already started talking about that, right? Discuss the pros and cons of these plans. Every one of your scenarios is a poverty level income because of the household size, okay? Discuss pros and cons of how you would suggest to them to get out of debt or increase their income or whatever, and then talk about why it would work or why it wouldn't work and the weaknesses you see. Example, I only have my GED, but going somewhere to further my education would cause me to be away from my family most of the time. Maybe increase childcare fees, right? We've got a single mom out there. Not to mention the extra expenses of the classes. Not to mention the decreased bond between the mother and child, because if you're trying to work and go to class. So think through some of those scenarios, and then after you do that, you'll open your life experience card. I think life expense, right? And then how would you work that in? So talk about possible solutions, and then open your life experience card, or whammy, as I call it. And then how does that make you feel, or how would that make you feel if this was you? And then we'll come back. Okay, everybody get your life expense card opened up. I just want to make a note on the life expenses. Those are real world scenarios that have happened. Some to me, some to my friends. Okay? Gary, you're the microphone on this side of the room, right? He's trying to read it. Carson, help Gary with glasses. BJ, you're on this side. Okay, so what I would love with a microphone, if every table could have a representative that's going to speak for your table. Obviously, sharing at your comfort level. I don't want to make anybody a little uncomfortable. I do want to make you a little uncomfortable, but not a lot uncomfortable. So share what you're comfortable with. But first, we're going to talk about this. These are also actual scenarios. I ran out of time. I was going to give you a whammy card, too. But these are things I asked a bunch of my friends, like, what's an unexpected expense you've had recently, and how did it impact you? I'm gonna hold off on how did it impact you, because those are some pretty raw stories. But blew a tire and ruined the wheel to $135. You have to pay up front. Car broke down, engine failure, not covered by warranty, $8,500 to fix on the Suburban for her family of 6. Or get a new one, a $60,000 Suburban. No savings. Credit card charges 19.6% interest. Water tank sensor went out. No hot water in the house. Is that optional? Would you consider that optional? $250 to fix. Garage door won't close. Is that optional? $225 to fix. Broken wrist, trip to the ER, cast for 6 weeks, 2 days off work, unpaid. Can you leave your wrist broken without treating it? Not optional. Lawnmower broke. Someone gifted them a riding lawnmower, which was great until it wasn't. $750 to repair, or pay someone $50 a week to mow. Don't mow. You face angry neighbors or get a fine from the HOA and or the city. Summer camps for kids, $225 each for a week of church camp, $350 each for a week of soccer camp. I'm not saying what family this is, but you might be able to tell. You can ask for a scholarship, but you have to fill out paperwork, get your taxes from last year, and provide 3 pay stubs. Your printer's out of ink, and it's $25 to replace the cartridge. Also, you have to turn in the scholarship paperwork to the lady in the office who's married to your cousin. That last part is a little embellished, but head back to growing up in a small town where you know everybody, and when you have to ask for help, it's horrible because you're embarrassed. And nobody in this room would say that church camp is a necessity. Nobody in this room would say that soccer camp is a necessity. Elizabeth, how necessary is it when your kids play sports to send them to camp to get better? It's necessary. They didn't have camps when you were growing up, and look how well you turned out. It's necessary. Lousy soccer player, but a pretty okay human. Okay, solution considerations. Some of you might have come up with these things. Ask a family member for a loan. Just ask your mom. Ask your mom and dad. Ask your husband's mom and dad. Ask your sister. Possible family stress and awkwardness. Maybe a loss of an emotional support system. If you can't pay them back, everybody gets mad. You don't go to Christmas because you don't want to face them because you owe them $200 from June that you haven't ever been able to pay back. Ask a friend, more of the same. Payday loan? Whoo, you guys. You say don't, but those places here in town are busy, and they're busy because people are desperate. Very high interest. I think I put in this later, how high the interest it is. No, it's 160 to 380%, depending on the payback, because it's cash now, and they will give you up to $5,000, depending on your pay stubs. How easy is it to get in a hole? To fix something today? My engine's out. I have to have a Suburban. It's $8,500. I have to fix it today. Here we are, right? Credit card, more of the same. Don't fix the car. Don't send the kids to camps or whatever. Possible job loss. Anybody in my job, I run a nonprofit, which is a tax status, not a business model, P.S. But I have to have people that show up to work. We're in a service industry. I've had employees be down a car and had to walk or ride a bike, and it wasn't optional. It wasn't optional. Loss of active connections for the kids. Does everybody know the stats on how much healthier and graduation stats and all that goes up when kids are involved in an activity? Band, sports, choir, whatever. Get those kiddos plugged in with positive peers, and success rates skyrocket. But these families that can't afford this stuff, and it's honestly, we've made it so hard to ask because we want them to have to, they need to pay for their decisions. They need to work really hard and prove to us that they earn it. And in the meantime, I'm going to take their application in the office and I'm going to call 6 friends and tell them about it and ask for prayer. That's where we're at. On and on. So this is the time to share. So my microphone friends, I would love to hear, this is just an example, share what came up at your table, but one disagreement in your discussions. Did anybody disagree on what was necessary and what was optional? One thing you hadn't thought about that your table discussed. Possible answer you came up with and reasons why it would work to increase their income and reasons why it wouldn't. Anybody ready to go? Larry, you're going to go get the mic from Gary. Oh, got it. Rotary microphone is another thing we put as an obstacle.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
So we talked about the possibility in our case with the two parents and 2 kids that one of them could be going to a night school online, to maybe Votech or Career Tech, and improve their situation. And then somebody else on the table says they need a computer for that. So yeah, you could go to the library. Of course, you need transportation for that if you live out. But
yeah, and the library's not open as late at night anymore, too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's right along the lines. Did you guys disagree about anything? You're too nice. Were you guys too nice today? This is not like you. Okay. Who else? Who you got? Yes, sir.
So our person was making a monthly income of $1,780 and paying $700 a month in child care. She could become a child care person herself and double her income and have that connection with her own child.
What if she's bad with kids? No, and I say that, I'm not being facetious. How many of you know somebody that has their own kids and terrible with other people's?
Well, it would be the same situation being a CNA, unfortunately.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with the elderly, a lot of times that's like dealing with children, so.
Maybe. I like it. Who else? Okay, Glenna.
Mike, if anybody over here wants it. We just feel heartbroken. When we have a family. Does everybody have the same family?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, not everybody has the same family. Ours is a negative 100 in the hole. They have 3 children. They make $5,600 a month after taxes. That's what they bring home. So they're negative 100 in the hole with 3 kids, ages 4, 7, and 11. And you sit here and you just scratch your head. They probably don't qualify for assistance, but I'm sure they've probably tried to get daycare. We hope they have an Our Daily Bread where they can go get food that might help. They kind of mention the same thing. Co-op with other parents to see if you can't have shifts in after-school care at one kid's house this week or the next week. Uber, Lyft, same thing though. It takes them away from their family, but then you've got the wear and tear on your vehicle. It may be your only vehicle that you've got. You've got tires, you've got gas, you've got time away. It's a heartbreaking scenario. You hope they have family that'll help, but not everybody's got family.
And also that awkwardness of borrowing money from your family.
Right.
I know we've been there, and it's hard and kind of awful.
Well, and one of the things that isn't in here is clothes. Kids go through clothes, shoes, especially if they're in activities. Clothes, shoes, uniforms, sign-ups, fees. You don't want them to feel different.
When they get to those ages where they're growing out of that stuff, not wearing it out.
Yeah.
And you can't hardly keep up with them.
Right, and not hand-me-down. You can't hand-me-down. You can't. And, kids are going to want electronics, laptops, computers. The world is constant. So, We could offer suggestions. That doesn't mean it'll help for that family, but you're going to have the support of a community. It all comes down to the support of a community and public assistance.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people
And
say,
reducing the stigma
Right.
to
Right.
those things. We can't make it so hard or weird or awful for people to ask for somebody to come alongside them. Also,
Yeah.
some of the guests we deal with, you guys, I'm not kidding, they're hard. They're hard. They're not nice.
And I
they're
would
not,
say-
they're not sweet. They've got it rough, and it shows all over them, and in how they talk, and in how they treat others. Empathy is hard some days, even in our job, and we're in it, man.
Yeah.
And we want to help everybody, but man, it's easy to help Carson. He's so nice.
yeah. Well,
Just want to pat him on the head and hug him and babysit his kids and do all the things, right?
and be a aware citizen. If you know somebody needs help, leave groceries on their door. Offer to watch their kids for a
You're
couple
still
of
in my
hours.
thunder. That's in a few slides.
Sorry.
What other table wants to share?
Sorry.
You can
What
come back up with the
Rachel's gonna
solution.
say.
Tim.
We'll go quick. We'll go quick. We began thinking about things that were not. So first of all, we have a single mother with 1 3-year-old child, monthly net income $1,780, rent $900, childcare $700, remaining $180 a month for everything else. So nothing listed there was food, transportation, medical, diapers, baby food, internet if you're going to be in school or if you're going back to school, utilities, car insurance. And so the two things we thought about, the person is a CNA, maybe find a way to go back and become an LPN, but that would take time away from the child. That would probably be more child care, maybe more transportation. That's a difficult situation. And the other one was, I hope this person has family, has a mother or grandmother that can help out with the situation some. But maybe they're in the same boat.
Yeah. And we see that a lot too. Okay, I think I'm going to have to advance the slides. You guys, this went so good. You're sharing so well. So did you know payday loans from a local company can range from 180 to 360% on the money, but depending on the time and amount borrowed. SNAP and WIC benefits cannot be used for diapers and wipes. A 40 count of Love diapers size 2 today in the Walmart app is $29.88. And believe me, Seth and I tried the generic diapers, and you use 4 times as many, and they squish out the poop, and that is disgusting. So we use Loves, and that's why I put that. The average baby, and this is an older baby, newborns go through 12 a day. The average baby in size 2 diapers, 6 to 10 a day. Did you know a tube of toothpaste today? Crest, not the cheap stuff because it's gross. Not Sensodyne, but a tube of Crest toothpaste costs $5. A pound of 73% lean ground beef is about $6 after tax. The problem with lean, has anybody drained it recently? How much meat do you end up with if you drain the grease? Not much. A smaller, so those families where, okay, Smarties, listen. He said 73% of what you bought. Okay. But here's the thing, like, have any of you made a meal for a family of 5 recently? You're going to need at least 2 of those suckers because kids can eat, right? You hope. A haircut at Great Clips is $20 without a tip. A child's haircut is $18. Any of your families, everybody need a haircut? There you go. Late fee on a mortgage. Touche, Norm. Norm does not need a haircut. You just saved $20, Norm. Late fee on rent, typically $50. We talked about this. A pair of tween girls tennis shoes at Walmart are $20, and Walmart tennis shoes can hurt your feet. Haircut, yep, got it. Poverty can lead to chronic stress, chronic inflammation in the body, increased risk of things like stroke and heart attack, addiction, unaddressed mental health issues. How many of you added on dental care? Are we going to the dentist? Or do we qualify for things? Maybe we haven't had time to sign up. It's expensive to be poor. One of my coworkers told me that when I started at Our Daily Bread, and I didn't get it for a long time. So what can we do? I'm an action person. I didn't understand years ago, I truly didn't, how talking about it in groups like this could really matter. It does matter. Awareness matters, because when we're aware, we start paying attention. So love people where they're at. Come to things like this, right? Be aware, but love people where they're at. Offer dignity. People are messy. People are hard. You guys are, I am, our guests are. People having a hard time are. Support programs that offer intentional help. We've got a lot of them in our community that are ready to walk alongside people. Stillwater Cares has a great class called Getting Ahead. We nominate people for that class at Our Daily Bread. We're as passionate about connecting people to resources as we are to providing them with food. That matters. The Mission of Hope has a transitional living program. Don't know if you've heard, Mission of Hope is in a little bit of a jam. They have an online donation link, and I know they'd appreciate a little help. Go to meetings, join coalitions and groups who are doing boots on the ground work. Healthy Children, Healthy Communities, Resilient Payne County, Early Childhood Coalition, my board. Get involved. And ask questions, the hard ones, the ones you're thinking in your head that you don't want anybody to know that you're thinking. Ask them. I've gotten way less defensive in 5 years, I promise you, about people asking questions about our guests. I would rather you ask so we can talk about it, so I can tell you different scenarios, than you not ask and assume that you know what's going on. Because I used to do that. I used to assume. Remember, I knew a lot before I didn't. Be open to changing your perspective. What you thought once might have been right, but it might not be right anymore. Lots has changed. Don't assume you understand if you haven't actually walked in someone else's shoes. Last thing I want to share. I got this statement from a guest who came to Our Daily Bread June 3rd. My husband and I have 2 beautiful girls. We were living a very comfortable life. However, during COVID, my husband lost his job of 13 years. They were cutting back as all jobs were at the time. I was a stay-at-home mom of our 2 very active kiddos. No jobs were hiring because everyone was in lockdown. My husband finally landed a job that was in a different state, but he was working remotely. With this, we took a significant pay cut, but we were thankful it was something. I decided to start my own business to bring in extra cash, but I wasn't sure what I was doing as I've never owned my own business. Mark, how many people misestimate self-employment tax? Put you in a bad spot. Those who know running a business, you don't actually make a profit until about year 5. So I work for free and don't pay myself, but I keep the business going to hopefully one day make it up. We've managed to keep the bills paid at that point, some late, some on time, but last year my husband lost his job. There was an ultimatum. We'd have to move to this other state or they were gonna let him go. My daughter was in senior year, and after that was my other daughter's senior year. Moving wasn't an option for us. We wanted them to graduate with the friends and the support of their community we've lived in for so many years, where they've been going to this district since pre-K. Community's important. We decided we'd figure it out. He got a job close to home, but it was only temporary, and when they let him go from that, we were at a loss. So we went more time with no income. Bills started piling up, credit scores plummeting. He got hired back on with a company out of state when they got some extra work and needed his help, but the pay cut was even more. More bills pile up, months behind on the car, the house, foreclosure notices. We began to think every noise outside was the car getting repoed. No food in the house. My pride was damaged. When you can't keep food in the house for your kids, it's just a huge feeling of failure. My daughter volunteered with Our Daily Bread with the school group, and she mentioned it several times, but my pride wouldn't let me. That's for people who really need it, not me, was what I thought. What if somebody saw me that I knew, and now they knew I was struggling? I didn't want that. We live in a small town. Everybody knows who I am. Finally, last month, I broke when one of my kids looked at me and said, "There's no food in this house." That moment on that day, I decided to swallow my pride and take the help. The first place I went was to a small Our Daily Bread, a remote location. I was so thankful. I finally decided I would try the one at the larger location that's once a month. I went there at the beginning of this month, and I still have groceries. That was yesterday. I have been so utterly thankful for Our Daily Bread, blah, blah, blah. This isn't about Our Daily Bread, but that's the kind of story. She went on to tell me she's embarrassed to drive her car to get help at Our Daily Bread because she drives an Escalade that they are upside down on in their mortgage. They can't afford to sell it to buy something else. This is not an uncommon story. So all those things that we talked about doing, reserve judgment, offer understanding, join those coalitions, we can solve it together. Here's some quotes. I'm not going to tell you who said them. I know that's not appropriate, but we'll get in a political outrage. So here we go. The greatest disease in the West today is not tuberculosis or leprosy. It's being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. Poverty isn't a lack of character. It's a lack of cash. Every life deserves a certain amount of dignity, no matter how poor or damaged the shell that carries it. It will take more than you alone to pull 40 million Americans out of poverty, but who will you be if you don't care enough to try? The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It's whether we provide enough for those who have little. And finally, how wonderful it is. I'll say this one. Now I need it, Marcia, but I did better today. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. And that's it.